Now, Nelson, one of the things you had said just a moment ago is that a variable is two things. It's a type and it's an identifier.
Hmm.
But I think more importantly, for those that are joining us that truly are complete beginners, I think it's very important for them to understand above that is that a variable is a place in memory that can hold data.
Right. I mean, that's the purpose of a variable is to contain data. Now, the type and the name come into play when you wish to access that data or use that data. The name is what we use to refer to the variable throughout our program after we've defined it, and that allows us to put information in. So for example, I'm using the assignment operator right here, stashing the whatever thing that console read line gave us back and putting it in this as a variable. But unfortunately, things are a little bit more complex than that because right now we only have an example of a variable that can contain text data. A string in pretty much every programming language is a data type that can contain text, any arbitrary length text. So an example of a string would be something like what we have right here, which is what I've referred to before as a string literal. I say the word string literal because it is a value that is literally placed into our program, whereas this is not a literal, but it still is a string. The reason it's not a literal is because this is logic that happens when your program runs. By storing values in variables, we can change the way our program runs every time it's ran. For example, if instead of doing console.readline, I put in the string literal of Nelson, we don't have a very useful program because it can't change at all. Variables, by their definition, allow our program to do different things depending on what the user has typed in or told the program to do. But strings are only one kind of type, or sorry, one type, because there are multiple kinds of type. I'm not going to get into that right now. So a string is one of the types that we have, and a string is built into the .NET framework, and it's built into every single .NET language you would ever use. And again, just to recap, a string contains text. And we can put values into that variable. So this is an example of placing this value into this variable. We are allowed to do this because this value has the same type as this variable.